A woman threw a tantrum when I wouldn't accept her expired coupon, screaming, "This is terrible customer service." I stayed calm and pointed to the fine print that said, "Expires in 2015. She yelled, "I'm calling corporate." The manager stepped over, checked the coupon, and said, "Ma'am, I am corporate." Her jaw dropped as he banned her from the store. This happened a couple years ago when I was working at a major retail chain in downtown Chicago. I was working the evening shift at the register, just trying to finish out the day without any issues. Tuesdays were usually slow, but that night, the store was packed. There was a big midweek promo going on and people were out shopping like it was Black Friday. My line was long, customers were getting cranky, and we were all just trying to get through it. Around 6 p.m., this woman walked up to my register. She looked put together, probably in her late 40s. Expensive coat, heels that clicked on the floor, and that look in her eyes. Like everyone around her was just in her way. She dumped her items on the counter without saying a word. I greeted her anyway, tried to be polite. She didn't answer, just stood there scrolling on her phone. I started scanning her stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary. A couple of candles, some kitchen stuff, a few snacks. Then she pulled a crumpled paper from her purse and slapped it down in front of me like it was some kind of winning lottery ticket. I picked it up, and right away I knew where this was going. The coupon expired in 2015. Not 2020. Not even 2018. 2015. I held it up and said, "Sorry, ma'am, this coupon's expired. I can't take it." She didn't look up from her phone. "Run it anyway." "I can't," I said again. "It expired a long time ago. See here." I pointed to the expiration date. That's when she looked up. Her whole face changed. "Are you serious right now?" "Yes, ma'am." "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "You guys always make exceptions for me. I've used these before. This is terrible customer service." I didn't argue. I just said calmly, "It's not valid anymore. It's store policy." She raised her voice so everyone behind her could hear. "Store policy? Let me tell you something about store policy. The customer is always right. You don't get to decide what's valid or not." I stayed calm. It wasn't my first time dealing with this kind of behavior. I pointed at the fine print again, just to make it clear. It says right here, "Expires December 31st, 2015. That was it. She lost it. She slammed her hand on the counter. "I am calling corporate." The people in line behind her started shifting, mumbling. One guy let out a low whistle. Someone 2 lanes over laughed. I just stood there, hands at my sides, waiting for her next move. She started digging in her purse again, probably looking for her phone. This is unacceptable. I spend thousands here. Do you have any idea who I am? Before she could go further, I paged my manager over the intercom. "Manager to register 6, please." Not even a minute later, my manager, Mr. Reynolds, came walking up. He wasn't the kind of manager who hovered, but when things hit the fan, he always showed up fast. He's in his 50s, serious face, tall, wore a pressed shirt every day even though everyone else was in polos. Customers didn't scare him. Nothing did. He walked up and asked, "What's going on?" She shoved the coupon in his face and started yelling again. "Your employee refuses to take this coupon. I've been coming here for years. This is insane." Mr. Reynolds didn't flinch. He took the coupon, read it, and looked at me. "What did you tell her?" "I told her it's expired." He looked back at the woman and said, "Ma'am, this expired in 2015. We can't take it." Her face went red. "I am calling corporate right now. I will have you both fired." Mr. Reynolds didn't raise his voice. He didn't even blink. He just said, "Ma'am, I am corporate. I oversee all 10 stores in this region, and I'm going to ask you to leave now." Dead silence. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Her jaw literally dropped. I've seen people get mad before. I've seen yelling, crying, cussing, but this woman looked like someone had unplugged her brain. She stood there, frozen, eyes darting back and forth like she was still trying to figure out a way to save face. Mr. Reynolds didn't move, just stood there, arms crossed, waiting. Then, loud enough for everyone in line to hear, he added, "And you're banned from this store. If you return, security will be called." She looked around, probably realizing everyone had been watching the entire thing. A couple of customers were holding back laughs. One woman muttered, "Finally." The woman slowly backed away, grabbed her purse, and stormed out of the store without her items. And I was just standing there, trying to keep a straight face, scanning the next customer's basket. The guy behind her just gave me this look and said, "That was better than Netflix." For the next few days, everything was calm. It felt like maybe that whole mess was behind us. But then weird stuff started happening. First, someone called the store pretending to be a regional auditor. They asked for employee names, schedules, and policy details. The call came in while I was on break, but one of my coworkers, Jamie, took it and said the guy was super pushy. He kept asking if anyone had recently violated coupon policy and if anyone had been reported by a VIP shopper. Jamie thought it was odd. "We don't give out employee names to random callers." She reported it to Mr. Reynolds, who shut it down immediately and flagged it. Corporate doesn't call like that. If something was wrong, it would come through him directly. The next day, an envelope showed up. No return address. It was hand-delivered. Someone actually walked in and left it at the customer service desk, said it was for the manager. Mr. Reynolds opened it in front of me and Jamie. Inside was a printed photo of me at my register, taken from behind one of the aisles. There was a note written in all caps that said, "This isn't over. You don't know who I am." He folded the paper slowly, didn't say anything at first. Then he said, "I want you to park near the entrance from now on. And don't leave the building alone." We reported it to corporate security. They took it seriously. Cameras were reviewed. HR got involved. They checked footage, but the woman who dropped the envelope off had her face mostly covered, hood up, sunglasses, big bag. No clear ID. Even then, I kept working. I needed the job. I just stayed alert. A week later, she came back. She walked in bold as ever, same coat, same strut, like she owned the place. I saw her the second she walked through the automatic doors. My stomach dropped. I called Mr. Reynolds on the walkie immediately. "She's here." He came out from the back faster than I'd ever seen him move. She was heading for the candle aisle. We met her there. He blocked her path and said, "You're not allowed in here. You've been banned." She smiled like she was expecting it. "You don't get to tell me where I can shop." He didn't move. "We told you last time. Leave, or security will be involved." She stared him down, then looked past him, right at me. I swear, it felt like her eyes were burning through me. Then she said something that didn't make sense at the time. "You really want to lose your license over a coupon?" Mr. Reynolds frowned. "What license?" She didn't answer. Just smiled and turned to walk out. As she left, she brushed against a display and knocked over a bunch of mugs. Didn't even flinch. We all stood there confused. License? What license? The next day, it made sense. A complaint was filed against the store with the state board. Not about the expired coupon, but about me. The claim said I was giving out health advice at the register and harassing customers over their weight and appearance. It was totally fake. But the complaint was detailed. It had fake quotes, twisted facts, and even a fake witness statement. Someone went to real effort to build it. HR called me in, and they were supportive, but they had to go through the formal review process. I was pulled off register duties and stuck in stockroom shifts for a week. That's when I realized this wasn't just a tantrum anymore. This woman was trying to ruin my life over a coupon that expired 10 years ago. I started documenting everything. Every shift. Every interaction. Screenshots of messages, times she came in, security incidents, even the weird phone calls we kept getting that asked for me by name. But things got worse before they got better. 2 weeks after that fake complaint, My car tires were slashed in the employee parking lot. All four. Police were called. They took a report but didn't find much. No cameras caught the act. Just someone walking in from the side alley, hoodie up, quick and quiet. Looked about her height, but we couldn't say for sure. And guess what? That same day, someone left another envelope at the front desk. No photo this time, just another message. You messed with the wrong woman. At that point, I started to feel like I was being hunted. It wasn't just the tires or the letters anymore. It was the fact that she knew where I parked. That she came back again, even after being banned. That she was somehow getting into the store without anyone stopping her. And now she was trying to get me fired, ruin my record, maybe worse. I wasn't sleeping right. Every noise outside my apartment had me jumping out of bed. I started checking under my car before getting in. Always looking over my shoulder when I closed the store at night. Even stopped going out with coworkers after shifts. I didn't want anyone else dragged into it. Mr. Reynolds told me to take a few days off. He was worried, said we'd keep documenting, and that he was calling someone higher up at corporate to push for legal action. But I didn't want time off. I wanted answers. I wanted to know why a stranger had locked onto me like this. And then we found something. Jamie was helping stock the clearance aisle when she noticed something weird tucked behind a row of baking pans. It was a small voice recorder, taped to the bottom of the shelf. We brought it to Mr. Reynolds right away. He called security and had the whole store swept. 2 more were found, one in home goods and another under a checkout counter. One of them still had a blinking red light. It was recording. We had no idea how long they'd been there, or what they caught. But it was clear someone was trying to build something. Record us. Catch us saying the wrong thing. Maybe edit it, twist it, send it to corporate or the news or something. Security took the devices and pulled more footage. Sure enough, she'd been back again. Came in wearing a janitor's uniform, big utility cart, gloves, trash bag. She timed it during a delivery window when the actual night crew was offloading pallets out back. She slipped in like she belonged there, planted the bugs, and walked right out. That's when we finally made a connection. Mr. Reynolds got a call from corporate legal. Turns out, this woman, her name was Marla Jennings, had a long history. She'd been blacklisted from 2 other stores in the same chain. One in Milwaukee, another in Indianapolis. Same pattern, fake complaints, planted evidence, showing up in disguise, stalking employees who wouldn't give her what she wanted. But here's where it got real bad. She used to work in PR. She knew exactly how to stir up trouble, how to write fake witness statements that looked real, how to make a situation spin out of control with just a few words and well-timed emails. And she had a brother-in-law who worked in state licensing enforcement. That complaint she filed? He didn't file it himself, but he helped her figure out what to say so it would be taken seriously. They couldn't prove he was actively involved. But corporate flagged the whole situation. Now there were multiple departments watching everything legal, HR, security. But that just seemed to make her escalate more. The next week, Jamie got a call at home. Her home. Some woman with a fake accent saying she was from store investigations and asking if she had concerns about employee behavior and if she felt safe working under my supervision. I wasn't even a supervisor. That's how sloppy it was getting. Then another twist. A new hire named Chloe came up to me after a shift and said, "Hey, are you the girl with the coupon lady problem?" I said, "Yeah, why?" She looked nervous. Said she'd just started 2 days ago, but when she was on her way out of the break room, she overheard someone talking to someone else on speakerphone. The person was giving details about my schedule, what days I opened, what time I usually took lunch, even what car I drove. Chloe said she thought it was weird, but wasn't sure if it was serious until she heard someone mention revenge. We checked the schedule. The person she described? A part-timer named Lena. Hired 3 weeks earlier. Always quiet. Claimed she was studying criminal justice, needed flexible hours. Mr. Reynolds pulled her file. Fake references. Burner phone on the contact sheet. When she didn't show up the next day, we knew she was gone. Disappeared. She was a plant. sent by Marla to get close. At this point, I was fully done playing defense. I filed a restraining order. We got the police involved again. Mr. Reynolds pushed for full corporate legal action, not just banning her from the store, but from every property the company owned. The company lawyer said they were preparing a cease and desist letter. Strong language. A warning that next step was a lawsuit. But right before that could go out, something happened that changed everything again. Someone broke into the store after hours. Didn't steal anything. Didn't take cash or electronics. They just left one thing. A single expired coupon taped to my locker. Handwritten note underneath it. You started this. I'll finish it. After that break-in, everything changed. They shut down the store for 2 full days. Security cameras caught a figure in dark clothes slipping in through a back service door. That door had been locked, only a manager had a key, which meant someone either picked it or someone inside had let her in. When we checked the footage again, it showed a cleaning crew member, Ramon, propping the door open during trash runs. We confronted him. He panicked. He said he didn't know it was for anything bad, that he owed someone a favor, that she told him it was just to get something she left behind. He was fired on the spot. Security added motion sensors and alarms to every door. Corporate sent out a full alert to every store in the region. But it didn't stop. A week later, I came home from work and found my front door wide open. Nothing was stolen, but everything was moved. My pictures were flipped face down. My work uniform was cut up and laid out on my bed. And on my kitchen counter? Another expired coupon. This time it was burned at the edges, taped to a handwritten note that said, "You still think this is about a discount?" That was the final straw. I packed a bag that night and stayed with Jamie. I went straight to the police the next morning and gave them everything. The letters, the photos, the voice recorders, the tire slashing, the break-in, the store footage, every last piece. I told them I didn't care what it took. I wanted her found. Mr. Reynolds pushed it too. He called the district manager, corporate legal, even contacted the press to tell them an employee was being stalked and targeted and no one was doing enough. And then, finally, it snapped. The police got a tip. A landlord from a rundown apartment in Cicero reported strange behavior from one of his tenants, packages arriving under different names, constant calls, and security cameras outside her door that she had installed. When they showed up with a warrant, they found everything. Photos of me, store blueprints, employee schedules printed out and highlighted, notes about my habits, and a whiteboard with a big timeline written on it. She had been planning this for months. But that wasn't all. They found IDs. Fake ones. A wig. A fake name badge for our store. A thumb drive labeled HR Bomb. Inside were fake documents, sexual harassment claims, theft reports, drug test failures, all made to look like they came from me. She was planning to ruin me completely. And here's where my mistake came into play. I had waited too long. When this started, I kept thinking it would just go away. That someone acting like this over a coupon couldn't really be dangerous. That staying quiet, keeping my head down, was the safest thing to do. That was my mistake. I should have gone to the police the very first time she came back. Should have taken the threats more seriously. Should have spoken louder. I let her get too close, and I almost paid the price. But it was Marla who paid the biggest one. She was arrested on the spot. Charged with stalking, criminal trespass, harassment, destruction of property, identity fraud, and more. At the trial, she sat there like a ghost. No makeup, thin, sunken face, eyes that didn't blink right. The prosecutor read out every fake file she made, every time she broke into the store, every time she followed me home. When they asked her why she did it, she said, "Because people like her think they can humiliate me and walk away." I showed her that some customers can't be ignored. The courtroom was silent. Even the judge looked disturbed. She got 10 years. Her brother-in-law got fired and lost his license for helping her draft the fake complaint. The fake hire, Lena, turned out to be her niece. She skipped town and hasn't been seen since. As for me, I transferred to another store, 2 hours away. I'm still working, but I carry pepper spray. I park under lights. I check my locks. I trust my gut now. Mr. Reynolds retired early after all that. Said he'd had enough corporate chaos for one lifetime. I don't talk about this much, but every now and then, someone brings up a bad customer and I feel that old weight in my chest. Because I know what it's like when someone decides you're their target. When it stops being about the coupon and starts being about control, power, revenge. You don't forget it, but you learn from it. And you never, ever let them in again.